Max, thank you so much for being here today in this live talk. For those that don't know you, can you make a brief introduction of who you are and what you're doing right now?
Well, I'm sitting in my home office right now. But yeah,
That's a good one.
basically, hey everybody, I'm Max Dalmau. I'm currently working as an external consultant for video games and esports for the United Nations Refugee Agency. But I also,
Yes.
oh, I'm listening to myself again.
What do you mean?
Oh, just a second. That should be okay. No, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I had another window open.
that's okay.
Apologies. Yeah, boomer things. In anyway, yeah. So as I said, I'm currently working with United Nations, but I'm also involved in the masters in esports and gaming for ISDE, and also involved in multiple different initiatives that revolve around the ecosystem
Hmm.
in esports and gaming, both in Catalonia, which is where I'm originally from, but also internationally speaking. Um, I come from a background where I started working in the toy industry, and from the toy industry, I went into the video game industry. And from then on, I specialized in esports. I used to own my own team, which was Wizards Club. For 7 years, we were competing both nationally and internationally, gathered some successes, hit some highs, hit some lows as well, obviously. And then in 2023, we decided to stop pursuing that goal. But I think all the learnings were what made me into the professional I am today. But also in parallel to working at Wizards, I was always working directly with gaming talent, so I'm also well known in the industry for working with top gaming creators from the Spanish speaking community. Some of them are among the 10 largest creators nowadays. So I have a little bit of everything under my belt.
Hmm.
Maybe the only thing I'm not that well known for is specifically like the producing video game side of things, right? I'm more in the on the marketing and on the sales cycles and on the uh, communication revolving video games or video gaming at all.
I mean, that's a
Mhm.
pretty long, CV. So
Yeah. So I whenever I try to do it, it's always hard to put it in 2 pages, So
yeah,
I try to
we
keep it
got
short, but it
yeah,
becomes harder and harder.
we have Paul Rosario in, in the chat. Max
Yeah,
has made
I told.
esports 11 yards than me, played hours at league. Well, welcome, Paul Rosario.
Welcome, Paul.
So, regarding Wizards, um, how is it? Out of curiosity, like how is it different to start esport team back then that it is
Mhm.
now in terms of resources, the whole like ecosystem of stakeholders being more knowledgeable? How's it different?
Mm. I think back then it was an open field for most of us, to be honest. Like
Mhm.
I've always said that, and I keep saying that to my students whenever I have the chance. Um, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did if I had to start today. Ecosystem is far more advanced in many ways and far more complex than it used to be. Um, to me, at that time, it was more about replicating what they were doing in the States, what they were doing in Korea, and Spain at the time was a emerging market, but not a consolidated market. So it was easier to make a name for ourselves, even when we didn't have the resources to compete with the top guys, right? But and then the time and resources required to go from zero to hero, from semi-amateur or semi-pro to pro organization were far less in terms of yeah, economical value than they are today. So we are looking at a more consolidated market, more mature market, one that has gone through ups and downs. So like let's say that the bubble has bursted already, and we are not the cool kids in the block anymore. But at the same time, the projects that are still alive are usually because they became more sustainable and more engaged with their communities, with much more different marketing mix and resource income mix as well. So I feel despite it looks hard for a person to start working in the esports industry, there are a lot of opportunities, and I always say that you should start by doing something that you really truly are passionate about, and try to build on based on that, right? It's not always easy to say, yeah, go start work for free. I did that for 4 years in at Wizards, right? So mm, I understand and respect the people who cannot do that or who need to do other things. But at the same time, if just start doing things in esports, right? Uh, get engaged with communities, moderate chats, or become a Discord moderator. I don't know, be a tournament admin, or try to become a referee in amateur or semi-pro tournaments. Like, just try to get engaged with the industry in any way possible, and that and capitalize and build on top of that. And fortunately or unfortunately, we are a small community. So if you put the passion, you put the work, and you put the effort, people will hear about you. People will call you. People will eventually reach out and ask you to come along, right? And I'm not saying it's a 100% guaranteed success, right? But it's definitely one of the best ways is to start doing things and hope for the best. To be honest.
Yeah, it's
And
just
not
being
not
there.
not not with the ultimate goal to get like a full on salary or living out of esports the day after, right? I
Mhm,
think this is important to understand that sometimes things take some time to build, and you also get more experience. You understand better what it takes to become a professional in the industry.
mhm. And nowadays, what separates those teams that are growing and those teams that fail? Is it revenue streams, or is it the what do you think from what you've seen?
I think it's a tough one because
Yeah.
if like the definition of success is depending on the money coming from one specific country and one specific organizer, I think that's not the most sustainable way of doing things. So it's still up for debate whether these large organizations are sustainable enough in the long run, especially after 2030. But in any case, I think it comes to getting too big to fail, having your hands in multiple different video games, multiple partnership programs, multiple opening multiple revenue streams, and making sure that if one fails, you are still able to compensate with others, right? And I think that's one of the harder struggles for smaller organizations where they might have a very good team in one video game, but they don't have an organization to support that. And if that team fails for any reason or disbands, their entire ecosystem gets destroyed, right? So eventually trying to become a multiple team organization is usually the way to go, and it will prevent you from failing too early. But
Hmm.
definitely there is an economical landmark there or requirement in order to compete with the big guys, and we're talking a range of millions, to be able to spend those millions without getting anything in return at the beginning. And but also, I wouldn't say that spending those millions will guarantee you the success. Actually, you have to spend them wisely, and you need to understand where to put them so they generate more revenue than you're spending. We've seen multiple projects, massive projects with massive investments behind them, fail because they also fail to understand why people love esports, why people like to watch competitive video gaming, and why people get engaged with organizations or with players or with content creators.
Okay. And why do the fans get
Mhm.
engaged?
I don't have the
Because like it's very difficult, right? To
yeah, yeah.
to get a fan, like to be like I'm a fan of Football Club Barcelona, but like
Mhm.
that, like that in
Mhm.
esports as for a team is not that easy. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a very nice discussion this morning about it. It was about two
Oh,
hours and we didn't get to a conclusion. I have some ideas that might be picked up by people, which is first of all, you need to construct or to create a narrative that is understandable, believable, and
Hmm.
that people can feel of uh, can have a feeling of or sense of belonging to something greater than just a team playing, right? So
Hmm.
you need to create that epicness, if you want to say it, uh, where people feel that by supporting the team that is playing either League of Legends, Counter, whatever, um, they are supporting something greater. They are supporting certain values, a certain way of doing things, a certain way of believing in things, a certain way of working towards a common goal. Obviously, these narratives of from zero to hero or the underdog are always super interesting in terms of getting people engaged. And we've seen that with the Mongols in Counter Strike, for instance, very recently, or but also capitalizing on the success of large content creators like we're seeing with Los Ratones nowadays. So I think there is not a single thing that works, but just a combination of listening to your fans, uh, building real value and bringing real value for them, where that is allowing them to live exclusive experiences, to play along with their beloved players or people who they are fans of, feeling that they are heard and that they are taken into account when making decisions. It's a combination of it's a multifactorial approach, and I think um, not a single one of them will single-handedly carry you through the ecosystem, but uh, but you should pay attention to multiple routes in that regard. And I don't have the magical formula. I'm sorry to say it, but I think you need to be very smart in terms of how you uh, communicate to your fans in order to keep them engaged, because I'm seeing this in certain teams like from the first generation. They are capitalizing now on fans they built 5 or 10 years ago, and people still want to be part of those organizations because they were fans 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
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 um, I'm not that sure that they are doing the right things to have fans in 5 years time or 10 years time. I'm failing to see them do the same good work at creating newer fans for no for other generations.
So you're saying that they don't think like more like
I
they don't
think
plan
it's
to
really
stay
hard
long
to
term.
stay relevant for a long period of time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes if you get too big, your efforts get too widespread, and therefore you are not able to keep on building on that in that regard, or people have the feeling that they are becoming more and more disconnected towards what you're doing. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm.
And if I was a student, let's say
Yeah.
bachelor's or master's, from
Hmm.
your personal perspective,
Hmm.
would you focus on scouting that competitive team and getting one or two sponsors,
Hmm.
or would you first focus on building that community, finding ways to monetize, and eventually start building the team to a more competitive team? Like, what approach would you take? Is there a right or wrong approach to take?
No, no, I don't think there is a wrong approach. I think uh, sometimes good teams naturally happen. Sometimes uh, you might not have a lot of expectations for a team, and then you get surprised. In the end, this is competition, right? It's not a sport, please and thank you, but it's definitely a competition, and it's definitely uh, something that is still not 100% defined on how it's going to pan out and how
Hmm.
people are going to perform in situations where there is a lot of pressure. So being the underdog at some point might play in your favor as well, or being the favorite might play against yourself, right? So I think in general terms, you should focus maybe more on creating a community, people that will support you no matter what, because eventually competitive struggles will happen. Like no team is good forever, right? So
Hmm.
I think if you are able to create that community, you will survive periods where you are not performing as good as you were uh, expecting to. And at the same time, one of the best ways to create community is to have a high performing team or or a championship winning team, right?
Yeah.
That clearly is one of the things that contribute more towards your newer fan generation.
Hmm. Right. Right. Also, I see in the comment section here, Paul, Max is right. The more you grow, the easier it is to widespread and
Too much. Hmm.
too much, and there's a loss in engagement. Yeah, always keeping your focus.
Hmm.
Know like your main or two main revenue streams, and yeah, yeah, that's what we try
Hmm.
at this portion at, at least to. And going now to like, because I want to touch also in education.
Hmm.
Uh, First of all, what made you join as the director of the program in
Hmm.
ISDE?
Well, I joined as a professor first.
Oh, professor. Okay.
Other person was doing the director's functions, and I have to congratulate him because he did a really good job at creating the basis of what an esports program should be. Um, so I came on something that was already built somewhat, but
Hmm.
I brought maybe a different perspective or a different vision on which topics should get covered, mm, how to structure the education in the form or shape of a narrative where you start from the beginning and eventually get lead into higher or more complex topics, while at the same time kind of guiding you or trying to help you decide where you want to fit in all of this, because obviously when we are looking at when we talk about esports, this is a very generalistic terminology that we're what we are using, but in reality we are speaking about 100 different communities, about thousands of different roles that you can play into it. So it's really hard for you to just select one, right? So the tendency is for students to come up and say, yeah, I want to do something related to product management or something related to marketing, but not really know exactly where do they fit
Yeah.
in all of it, and not really understanding where their key capabilities or skills will be better used. So I think we did a good job in the last few years to create that path and to make that path clear for all the students, and to have that sense of that you started from a point, and when you finish the degree, you are at, I would like to say, like a really good professional that is capable of playing a specific role without losing the 360 vision that it's required for you to perform well in this industry. Because one of the things that I make the most effort into is trying to make people understand that you cannot base your decisions or think that you understand esports if you only look at what the newspapers are saying, right? You really
Yeah.
need to get a deep understanding on the underlying dynamics that are happening within organizations, within tournament operators, within publishers, and understanding those dynamics and why each of these actors is doing what they are doing is what will provide you with a good basis of knowledge to perform well wherever you go and whatever you do in the industry, because you will react faster and more in sync or in line to what it's required for you to do if you have that knowledge. And I think one of the few guarantees that I can give to students at this day is that they get this type of knowledge.
Yeah. And besides like the 360 view and
Uh-huh.
the knowledge that they can learn in a master's that like the one you're running, like what advice would you give students that are searching for a master's in esports and gaming? Like what to look at, like the faculty? Is it internship opportunities? Is it what is like what are the most important factors if from your perspective?
I think it's a combination again.
Yeah.
It's I'd say our program is more or like the ideal student for our program is somebody who's already maybe started working in the industry, collaborating in the industry,
Mhm.
maybe not getting a salary or anything like that, but they're already engaged with the industry and they want to make sure that they get the knowledge they require to to build a profile on the industry, as well as building connections, getting internships,
Mhm.
and so forth. But also, it's indicated for people who has been working in the industry but only focused on one part of the industry. We're starting to have more students now that are working in the industry but within roles that don't require them to understand the industry, but they want to understand the industry. Our program is really good at that as well, right? So if you come, you never played video games, you never played
Mhm.
competitively, you don't follow esports competitions, but you end up working at, I'm going to say ESL, and you don't know that much about esports, you want to get that knowledge. Our program is really good at that as well.
Mhm. Okay. Amazing. And in terms of like hiring in the esports industry,
Yeah.
which is not that easy. So
Mhm.
like, what are like key factors that differentiate those people that get multiple offers to those that don't? What would you say are the key skills, both hard and soft?
Mhm. I think for hard skills are more, it's harder to say because they are depending on the role, right?
Hmm.
But soft skills are definitely that understanding of the dynamics,
Hmm.
obviously being agreeable and being nice and being a friendly person to work with.
Yeah.
It helps across any any industry. um, Being genuinely a good person and a person who is willing to chip in if necessary, but also make themselves being respected if somebody's trying to mm, mm, uh, get an advantage. Um, Being willing to go a little bit further than it is required. So
The extra mile. Yeah.
yeah, going for a little bit for the extra mile. And unfortunately, it never translates into a direct feedback, or most of the times it doesn't translate into direct feedback, but it does in the long run, right? Because I had people coming back to me after a few years telling me thank you because uh, that when you what you said a few years ago to me just really make an impact and it allowed me to, right? But it took 3 years to materialize into something that really changed my life. So I think that's one of the most important soft skills that you should always put attention into. Um, just make yourself useful, make yourself reliable, make yourself known for going a little bit the extra mile, and I can guarantee you that eventually results will show up. Yeah? And maybe not the way you expected, maybe not exactly where you were aiming for. I wanted to be a diplomat, and I eventually ended up working for United Nations in a capacity that I would have never dreamed of 10 years ago, right? So yeah, I think that's and it's a combination of luck, but also working hard as fuck. Sorry to say it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course. Yeah. There's no
And I never stopped working.
there's no secret. Show
I
up,
never
do the best
I
that you
never look.
can, and learn,
Mhm,
fail,
mhm.
learn,
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah, yeah, and never look back I mean, never look back. Always look back to understand where you failed, where you could have done
Mhm.
better, but never look back in the sense of mm, lamenting yourself for not having used that opportunity at that time. When you had the chance, when you took that opportunity, when you decided on something, to the best of your ability, to the with the amount of information that you had at the time, you made that decision. Therefore, that decision is correct, even if it proves to be not the right decision afterwards. At that time, it was the correct decision. So move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
Mhm,
And like, for those students that like get a knowledge of the 360,
mhm,
but are still a bit unsure
mhm.
about what route to get in the industry, what is, from what you've seen, 2026 or 2027, what are like the tendencies of like areas of like more growth
Hmm.
in esports and gaming
Mm.
for those students to be like, okay, let me try that.
I think esports right now requires professionals from multiple areas that understand what esports are and that understand why is a video game or a competitive video game becoming wildly successful, and why did some video games fail miserably at creating a sustainable environment for competition. Uh, but also it requires I think, or we will see more profiles from the uh, with a narrative uh, skill set, or like from the creative side of things, with a lot of like capable of generating narratives, capable of communicating clearly, and constructing these stories both for players, for teams, for tournament organizers, for video games, for content creators developing video games. You have to think, for instance,
Mhm.
content creators from the gaming industry. They used to be just a guy at home with a camera, playing video games. Nowadays, most of these guys have full teams of script writers, content creators, cameras, sound people. So there's editors for their YouTube channel, for the like they have one editor for the YouTube channel, one editor for their short form content. They have miniature creators. So we're seeing this on the content side of things, where teams are becoming bigger because the content creation is much more on one side relevant, and on the other side mm, the level required is higher than it used to be, right? So we're seeing
Yeah.
more content being overly I would say even overproduced uh, for some of these large creators or organizations, and finding that, striking that balance between what is organic and what is well produced is really hard, because sometimes when you overproduce, things tend to feel a little bit fake and they don't connect the same way, right? So
Yeah.
I think on the on the creative and on the content creation side of things, that's where definitely the most potential for growth I'm seeing right now. On the competitive side of things, I'm really interested in seeing how we develop new circuits specifically for mobile gaming. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we are facing, specifically talking about Europe and North America, because we are seeing Honor of Kings, or like these massive tournaments for mobile gaming filling arenas across Southeast Asia, but this is not translating into the European or United States market. So, and these are obvious, or Latin American as well. So it's hard for me to envision how it will look like, but I think there needs to be people who understand what it takes to build a successful and a working uh, professional circuit for video games.
Hmm.
And I believe the potential for that mobile gaming is clearly one of the largest pools of new talent attraction or retention for new professionals, right? Because um, PC console gaming is very stale at the moment, or like the potential for growth is not there at the moment unless things change, and the Steam machine comes out for 500 bags and everything starts buying Steam machines. But otherwise, it's gonna be a tough one, and mobile gaming is growing globally, massive speeds. So
More
we're
accessible.
we're yeah, and we're looking at faster games, faster engagement, but also shorter lifespans. So you need to be able to adapt and to react quickly, to keep updating the content, and this comes from the publisher side. But you need to keep updating that content, and you need to keep your game relevant. And we're seeing processes like Supercell, where they failed but managed to readapt again, and people are playing Clash of Clans and Clash Royale again, right? And so, but it's not let's say like the usual. It's quite far from the usual. But also don't sleep on games that might seem not that relevant anymore and are coming back. Like Fortnite's new season is coming in really strong. I think like there are opportunities in across multiple titles and across multiple continents. It's just a matter of being there for when it happens, or being ready for when it happens. Um,
Mhm.
if you have the chance as a professional to specialize in a game that maybe just like I see people also playing Arc Riders nowadays, but a lot of people saying that they don't wish Arc Riders to become pro, to become like something competitive because it's fun the way it is. We will always find people like that as well, and there will always be games that are better off being just a casual, friendly game, and not every game can be a competitive success.
Mhm. Yeah, you touched there on content creation a lot, like
Hmm.
putting the human side and also like the
Yep.
quality.
Hmm.
Like with this coming thing of like AI content and stuff, like that's gonna be more important than ever.
Hmm.
In-person events, do you think they're gonna keep massively growing, or do you think online events are going to?
Hmm.
Because my opinion, I think like in-person events, like the in-person sensation, like
Hmm.
it's very difficult to beat. You think that's
No,
gonna
it's unmatched.
grow even more?
It's unmatched. Just as a side note to close out the previous topic, when
Yeah,
you spoke about AI usage
yeah,
is here to stay. Is going to be part of the
yeah.
every single process. And if you are not using AI in your daily life, you better start now, right?
Mhm.
Integrate it into your daily routines, integrate it into your workflows, make sure that you understand the tools that you're working with, and become yourself more productive just because you use it. Um, but keep that critical thinking, and also that's why I'm saying that these people who are capable of building storylines, narratives are well sought after. I think yesterday I was reading about read a lot, by the way. I think that's a good advice for everybody. I was reading an article talking about how they were able to create massive DDoS attacks using poetry, tricking the LLMs using poetry into triggering hacking attacks. Right? Why? Because with using the narrative, they were able to um, um, deviate the attention of the LLM model so they wouldn't understand what they were really doing, right? So the power of how you frame and how you communicate and how you word something is really truly like it's really powerful nowadays. And so make sure that you use it to your advantage, right? That's why I'm saying these type of profiles, if you are able and capable of creating stories and good narratives, I'm pretty sure you won't lack a job in the near future.
Yeah.
But on the other topic, and as we said, I think for me, live events are unmatched. Like that feeling, that energy is unmatched. I haven't said that here, but basically, I fell in love with this when I went into Winter Extreme Masters Katowice. I went into an arena when I went there without knowing what I would find, and I understood. Uh, I went inside. I saw 30,000 crazy Polish fans with flags and everything. At the time, was playing Virtus Pro was playing with Pasha and Snacks, and all these guys were playing Counter Strike. The arena was like vibrating, and I simply just fell in love with esports at the time, and I decided I wanted to work on it. It took me a while to get there, but I managed to eventually do it. Um, and I'm a FC Barcelona fan. I go to the stadium. I was lucky enough to be in Camp Nou yesterday, um, and I have exactly the same feeling when I'm seeing nowadays Lamine or Pedri make a nice play, or Messi at the time scoring a goal, that when I saw Expect's backdoor live, right? Or when I was watching, I was lucky enough to be in Cologne last year for the major. I loved the energy in the arena. It was crazy. I mean, these moments are. I was in All Star League of Legends All Stars in Palau San Jordi as well in 2016. So I think all of these memories, all of these feelings, that energy, that passion, that's created on a live stadium is unmatched, and it will never be replicated by an online tournament. But I think online tournaments need, and some of them have evolved into much more well thought products in terms of how engaging they are for the audience, how the audience plays a role into the stream itself by voting, by launching challenges. I'm seeing more and more formats like the Blast. I don't remember the name for the Blast format where you, if you beat a team, you get their bounty. I think it's called Blast Bounty, but I'm not 100% sure right now. But so I'm seeing more and more formats being worked and thought about, and so streams are not a passive thing anymore where you put it and just watch it, but usually you get interpelled, or you get required to engage with it, and I think that's what creates much more or creates interesting products in terms of the online audience. I doubt we will see numbers, or we will never see numbers like the pandemic. Obviously, I think that's a fact, and whoever thinks like thought differently was clearly wrong. Uh, but if you look at the underlying trend, we are still growing, right? And the populational pyramid is in favor of more people than ever are playing video games. And older generations who started playing video games keep playing video games, and newer generations are continuing to enter the video game ecosystem or the esports ecosystem, and maybe not in the millions, but in the hundreds of thousands. So okay, yeah, let's continue building on top of that, right? Let's continue creating stories, finding new talent, creating unique narratives or rivalries that spawn continents, and I think we are good on that front, and we are on the right track. We took a little detour with from 2020 to 2024, 2025, 2025, but I think if you look at the underlying trend, we are on the right track, and there is a future for everybody who wants to be part of the industry. Not sure where, but there are avenues for everybody.
Amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
What's your objective for 2026? Your North Star.
Oh,
What do you want to accomplish
it's
for
a,
2026?
it's a it's a good question. I think for me the answer is very clear, but I'm in a very different position than maybe a lot of the people who are listening to us. But I think for me it's about finding work-life balance. I think that's
Yeah.
for
I,
but it's a very
I want to
personal
point
approach.
out. I want to point out for students,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when you start, you need to grind. There's
yeah,
work
yeah, yeah, yeah.
balance and other morning routines you
Mm,
see from those millionaires and
mm,
billionaires
mhm.
doesn't work if you're starting and you need to put in the work.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think for people to understand, I'm still answering messages at 1 a.m. At night,
Mhm.
or on a Sunday when I'm having lunch with my amazing girlfriend, and somebody's asking me to send them the details of a campaign we did last week. I'll do that, right? Uh, Eventually I would like it to come to a point where I can take some time off, mentally speaking, because it's really hard for myself to disconnect from this. And most of my free time I spend it either watching or reading about esports and video games. So not that much playing, unfortunately. So finding some extra time to allocate a few hours to playing would be nice as well.
Yeah,
And I
same
would
here.
like to be part of more digital communities. I think this is something I've kind of lost a little bit the touch, and I always have like that. Um, whenever I look at my Discord and I see how many servers I'm part of, that's kind of a thermometer that tells me how engaged or not I am with digital communities. And now it's quite empty, so I want it to be filled by the end of next year.
And if you want some expert advice, you always have Oscar Soriano from Play the Game.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
in digital communities all day.
Yeah. 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 Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Clearly.
But yeah.
He's
And
a teacher um, at our masters, and I'm reading now. Having a girlfriend is out of the gamer path. I'm sorry, I completely disagree. I very much enjoy playing with her. I'm playing split fiction right now with her, and we are having a lot of fun. So
Paul,
highly
then.
recommend that. Mm.
Oh yeah, amazing, amazing. And
Mhm.
last thing, out of
Mhm.
curiosity, how is it to work in the UN? Like, 'cause I've never
Well,
known or heard about
I'm not
someone working
technically
there, and
working for
especially
I'm
like in gaming. Yeah,
yeah, I'm not a UN worker in the traditional sense of things because I'm an external consultant.
yeah,
But I've been working within a UN framework, so I more or less understand what it takes to work for the UN. And I think it's, as any very very large organization, uh, there is a part of corporate that you need to be aware of. So you need to understand who you need to ask things for. You can't contact directly certain markets because there are teams that are specialized on those markets that you need to go through. um, there are processes for everything, right? And it makes sense because they need to ensure accountability, transparency, and obviously there are a lot of uh, interest pointed towards United Nations to say that it's a failed organization, blah blah blah. So in these times of uncertainty, uh, you need to be extra careful on how you do things and how you focus. But at the same time, I have also found that it's the people working at UN are absolutely amazing professionals. Like really, I've met some of the brightest minds I've find in my lifetime, and and that there is a real will and motivation to get engaged with the ecosystem or with the gaming industry, because they understand that gaming is one of the best tools to build first digital communities, to empower refugees to both to have fun, but also to maybe start a path towards professionality or having working conditions, uh, but also having fun, but also and also engaging with host communities as well. So as a tool and as a medium, gaming is one of the best possibilities that UNHCR finds to engage with refugees or to provide refugees with, and that's what we are trying to make a reality. So if you can donate, if you can make sure that you support your local NGOs that are doing a job that you feel relevant. And I think one of the best feelings in the world is the feeling of giving back to the community, right? Or at least as if you are in a privileged position, and please understand privilege as 50, 100 years ago, people couldn't have hot showers, right? So put things into perspective and understand that we are among the most privileged people across history ever, and that there's no debate about it, right? So maybe accept that, and that doesn't it doesn't mean that you should stop wanting better, right? But be realistic about where you are and be grateful for where you are, because you were among the top 0.1% of the most lucky throughout history. Hmm?
yeah. And
So
being grateful
give
keeps you
give
grounded as
back to
well.
the, yeah, and give back, like if you can, if you have the chance, give back to the community. I think that's something that you should always try to keep in mind.
Amazing, Max. Max,
Mhm.
is there something that we didn't mention that you would like to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm always happy to answer any questions that people might have. You can contact me. I'm quite open in terms of if I can help or if I can connect you to somebody I know. I'm more than happy to do that. Just and yeah, just get information from multiple sources. Like try not to focus yourself on one. Just make sure that you read or watch as much content as you can and try to grasp things from everyone. Uh, find that people that inspire you, and listen to what they have to say with a critical mind as well, um, and keep on grinding. Yeah, this is I think that's a good wrap up.
Amazing, Max.
Mhm,
Well, thank you so much for your time and all the advice. It's for sure
mhm,
very valuable for a lot of people, and I learned a lot.
mhm,
Put some notes here as well. So
mhm.
amazing.
Thank you. Uh,